Howdy, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Hello. How's it going, eh? Welcome back, and thank you very much for shooting in, joining a fella here for another one, another live one, as a matter of fact. New West Reset Live, episode 153 here today. 153. Sunday, January the 11th, 2026. Just a wee bit past 5 p.m. local time. That's mountain time, don't you know? Because as always, coming at you live from the foothills of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Right here in Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada land there, buddy. Here in southern Alberta, Purdy, Alberta. Lovely here in Calgary today, still lovely. Above 0 Celsius. We had a warming trend. We had one of those Chinook winds, them Chinooks come in. And the temperature went shooting right up there, bud. Plus 7 Celsius right now. It's like 43, 44-ish Fahrenheit. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. So welcome, everyone, on YouTube and Rumble. As always, simultaneously broadcasting live on the YouTubes and on that green flattened platform, the Bumble. So welcome. Good to see all of you. Thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly. If you haven't already, please do, the things just to help to push a guy out into the algo, as the kids say. I don't know. Thank you very much to all of you that have shared and subscribed. That's the best way to support the channel. Or comment below after the live, And if you're watching this after the live, thank you very much. Appreciate all your support. Thanks once again for winding down your weekend here on the Sunday Funday Show. Woo! As mentioned, episode 153. Another in the series of the old world in music, Clues in the Blues. Episode 4 of that. I enjoy these because, I like blues music and I like digging into it, and got a pretty good collection, some of it going back to, 100 plus years in terms of blues recordings. And there's a lot of good stuff in there if you listen with open ears, much like there's a lot of good stuff out there with the eyes to see. It's kind of the same thing with your ear balls tuned in there properly there, buddy. So this one, we're going to look at the Red Cross store. First, we're going to look a little bit at Mr. Skip James. Then we're going to look into the blues song, The Red Cross Store. We're going to look at it through Mr. Mississippi Fred McDowell. As usual, links below for everything we're going to cover on the show. We'll look a little bit into the Red Cross itself, how it was founded, who founded it, all that what's not and who's it's, so on and so forth. We got some songs to listen to with a little photo montage video to go along with them. Then we'll take a mid-show break. When we come back, we'll have a look at some photographs of a bunch of Red Cross stores, Red Cross hospitals, and Red Cross houses. Houses or buildings that were commandeered, I guess, by the Red Cross during times of conflict, shall we say, or emergency, I guess, both. Anyway, before we get into all of that, how you doing, chat? Hello. Let's say howdy to everyone in the box here in the chat. See how everyone is doing. Weekend's going. Maybe you're chilly. Maybe you're Maybe it's brass monkey weather for you, as my dad would say. My pops is hilarious. If it's cold out, it's brass monkey weather. What does that mean, Dad? That frees the balls off a brass monkey. All right, sure. Anyway, maybe you're cooking. Maybe where you're living, it's super hot out right now. You got to be careful. The extreme weather. Not that that's a new thing. Weather's always been extreme. Don't let them fool you, right? Old World Mi'kmaq in the box. Quay Nitap, good to see you. How you doing? Hello, hello. Kathy Broughton's here. Say in Kentucky right now. Yeah, it's freezing. And snow. Just still throws me for a loop. Channel 53 is here. Hello, howdy, howdy. Good to see you. There's Ross, Water the Tree, Missouri. Going through a warm-ish spell. The sun is shining spell down there in Missouri anyways. Still cold, though. There he is. Howdy, Sage. Dragon Sage in the box. Oh, you know we're going to get some. You know there's always going to be some shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
You know it. Good to see you, Sage. Howdy, Hippie. Hippie Shake in the box. Hello, hello. How you doing, Hippie? Hopefully your son had a great birthday there last week. Title! Titles! I can actually yell out the window. It's warm enough to have the window out or open, so I can stick my head out there and yell title. Guy out there walking his dogs, looking around. What? Where's it? Where? There's a turtle? Yeah, there's a title. Martin's here over on the Rumble. Howdy, Martin. Good to see you. Baja's in the box. Howdy, Baja. -1 Celsius in Montreal, huh? Hey? 37 degrees in where? Channel 53? Where are you? Excuse me. If you told me, forgive me, I forgot. -5 Celsius in Kentucky. That's Kathy Broughton there in Kentucky, wrestling hard to use the metric system with Celsius there. Just playing. I'm just playing. No more than I have to wrestle to do quick conversions in my head for the Fahrenheit, which is why, a fella just ballparks it. I'm just going to ballpark it. Oh, that's good. That's good, Hippie. Hippie Shake says, thanks, Frankie. Son had a great birthday. Very good. It's nice. Cake. Have some cake. It's birthday cake. I've always been more of a pie fella than a cake guy. Don't get me wrong. Cake's delicious. But an apple pie, blueberry pie, cherry pie. She's my cherry pie. Sorry. Terrible. Anyway. Got to quit screwing her. Cake and lots of presents. There you go. Nice. Nice. Very good. All right, enough messing around here now. Everyone in the chat's distracting the guy here. We got a lot to cover. So again, links below for everything we're going to look into. We're going to look into, we're going to kind of go back 100 years-ish once again here. 80, 90 years, depending on who we're going to listen to. We're just going to listen to, to hear about what was happening back then. Again, Skip James, and then Mississippi Fred McDowell, and that's how we'll get into the Red Cross stores through Mr. McDowell, Mississippi Fred McDowell. That's right, Baja Warrant, Cherry Pie. It's a good song. Come on, you got to admit. 33 degrees here. Oh boy, there's that number again. There is that number again. Odin's Raven is in the box. Howdy, howdy. How's it going there, eh? So what do you say we get into what we came here for? We're going to start it off here with, I've been meaning to cover Skip James on this topic here on the live show for a while now. We've looked at Leadbelly. We've looked at Josh White, Ma Rainey, Charlie Patton. Who else did we look at? Starting to lose track. So many already. Oh, yes, we looked at Natchez, Mississippi through the Howlin' Wolf tune, Natchez Burnin', which actually he covered an earlier version. And that's kind of the case with Mississippi Fred McDowell here with his version of the Red Cross Store, is he's covering a much earlier version that does actually go back close to 100 years. Anyway, with that said, we're going to start off with Skip James, because we've put old Skippy on the back burner here long enough now. It's time that Skip James gets his due. So let's quickly see what... we'll just check the Wikipedia just quick, fast, in a hurry here. Just to see what, of course, the official story is on Skippy. Nehemiah. Nehemiah? That's a heck of a handle there, sir. Nehemiah Curtis Skip James. Where does the skip come from out of all of that hootenanny? Anyways. Born June 9th, 1902. Passed on to the great beyond October 3rd, 1969. He was an American Delta blues singer, guitarist, and pianist, and songwriter. All music stated coupling and oddball guitar tuning set against eerie falsetto vocals. James' early recordings could make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. Yeah, I could attest to that. Hauntingly beautiful voice, but very high up in the register with a falsetto. And very intricate finger-picking style of guitar playing, which we'll hear in a moment or two here. Not that sort of more rough and tumble bottleneck style that we heard from Charlie Patton. Pastor of Castles is here. Hello. Howdy. Thanks for shooting in there, bud. So his guitar playing is noted for its dark minor key sound, played in an open D minor tuning with an intricate finger picking technique. Okay, there it is. James first recorded for Paramount Records in 1931, but these recordings sold poorly, having been released during the Great Depression, and he drifted into obscurity. Yeah. Set up to fail talent here, you know what I'm saying? Howdy Annie, Orphan Annie is here. Hello. Lost and Found History Rewritten in the box. Just want to stop and say hi. Not gone, just have a lot going on. Doing videos again soon. Good. Keep it up. Excellent. Good to see you, Eric. Yeah, see, some of us will hear all of this tuning and this and that, and then just be like, huh? What? Huh? That
doesn't make sense.
Even myself, who, while not a guitar player or pianist, I do dabble in these here harmonicas, and, let's just say, if it wasn't printed or stamped into the side of the harmonica, I couldn't tell you what key it was in just by hearing it. I got a tin ear. I'm tone deaf, whatever they call that. But yeah, accomplished musicians such as our friend Dragon Sage here. He gets what they're laying down here with old Skippy James. Anyways, after a long absence from the public eye, James was rediscovered in 1964 by blues enthusiasts, including John Fahey, musician in his own right, helping further the blues and folk music revival of the 50s and early 60s. During this period, James appeared at folk and blues festivals, gave concerts around the country, and recorded several albums for various record labels. His songs have influenced generations of musicians. It's been adapted by numerous artists. He's hailed as one of the seminal figures of the blues. Yeah, one of the early pioneers, one of the early fathers, at least of the Delta region, of acoustic guitar and singer blues. A little seasoned and spicy is here. Howdy, howdy, welcome. So his early years, he's from Bentonia, Mississippi. His mother Phyllis worked as a cook and babysitter on the Woodbine plantation, 15 miles south of Yazoo City. His father, Eddie James, was a bootlegger described as a local lowlife by Stephen Cult. He's a blues researcher, writer. I wouldn't say necessarily historian, but expert, in so much as you can be an expert if you're a published blues writer, which then by any stretch, then I could also put myself in that box, but that's a whole other story. Anyways, he left the family around 07, later reformed, became a preacher. Yeah, a lot of these blues cats would preach, but then they'd, wrestle with it, playing the blues on weekends, and then they'd feel guilty and go back to preaching. Yeah, Son of House, same thing. KJ is in the box. Kinley Jackson, howdy, howdy. Good to see you. So anyways, as a youth, he heard local musicians such as Henry Stuckey, from whom he learned to play the guitar, and brothers Charlie and Jesse Sims. His mother bought him a $2.50 guitar, which was his first instrument. He later began playing the organ in his teens. He left Bentonia in 1919, began working in road construction, yada, yada, levee building. You hear that a lot in the narrative in Mississippi and Louisiana. Early 20s, Illinois blues. About his experiences as a laborer, who began playing guitar in open D minor tuning. 20s and 30s. So for most of the 20s, he worked a series of illicit jobs, bootlegging, gambling, and procuring. In other words, a pimp. He was a pimp. Sheesh. Can you believe that? Way to perpetuate the stereotype there with the drugs and the booze and the gambling and the pimping.
That's racist!
I'm just saying. Lifestyle was so unbridled that when he returned to Bentonia from Dallas in 29, he was met with local reports of his supposed violent deletion. He was met with the same reports 5 years earlier when he returned from Arkansas, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Giving guitar lessons, piano, and even violin lessons, hoboing around, touring around, and then boom, he starts recording spirituals and blues songs. Two different names, of course. I'm so glad in 1927. I thought it got in here into some of his other specific songs, but Devil Got My Woman, yeah. Hard Time Killing Floor Blues. That's the one we're going to be having to listen to here. Hard Time Killing Floor Blues. So for the next 33 years, he made no known recordings after these in the 20s and 30s. And performed sporadically. He was virtually unknown to the general public until about 1960. Blues singer and guitarist Big Joe Williams believed that James had already passed away, or having been deleted in Mississippi. 64 blues enthusiasts John Hay, Bill Barth, and Henry Vestine found him in a hospital in Tunica, Mississippi. So kind of like Son House was rediscovered working as a porter for the railroad. Anyways, so they bring him to all these festivals and starts gaining notoriety. He starts his scratchy old records that did still exist on 78 RPM were reissued on albums like this one. It's compilation albums. 8 or 10 songs on a long playing record. Later on, CDs and whatnot. But they also, he also went back into the studio and recorded some acoustic albums. So yeah, there you go. Nehemiah. Don't even know how to pronounce that, but I'm going to go with Nehemiah Curtis Skip James, bluesman extraordinaire. So let's have a look at this song here that was recorded, give or take, about 100 years ago. And I think what we'll do is we'll listen to it. I'll let it play through and we'll listen to it. These songs are only about 3 minutes long because that's all that would fit on a 78 record shellac platter back in the day. You couldn't have Inagata Davida back then. I'll put it to you that way. That'd be on like 5 records. Anyways, you have to keep flipping it and then taking that record off, putting another one on the A side, then B side, take that one off, put another one on. Woo. Anyway, we'll listen to it, play through, and then we'll go back and give it a second listen. And I'll kind of pause it here and there, and we'll decipher the lyrics. Might be a little tough. Again, these are reissues from some of his early recordings in the 30s. Kathy says, with a name like that, I'd go by Skip too. Yeah, but how do you get Skip out of Nehemiah Curtis James? That's Channel 53 says, I like tuning in drop D. D-A-D-G-B-E. There you go. Jessie says, howdy, Jessie. Just didn't even see a sneak in there. She says, Tunica is where the casinos are. Ah. Oh, I see. Oh, I hope you feel better, Baha. Have some peppermint tea, maybe, or something. I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. It's just what I do. Anyways, let's have a quick... Wrong button. Let's have a quick listen here. A look and listen to Skip James and Hard Time Killing Floor Blues. I believe this is 1930. Could be 1931. So again, 95-ish years ago. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. As usual, once it gets playing here, please let me know in the chat, in the box, if you can hear it and see it okay, and so on and so forth.
Hard time on everywhere you go. Times it harder than ever been before. And the people are drifting from door to door. Can't find no heaven, I don't care where they go. Let me tell you, people, just before I go, these hard times will kill you just dry long slow.
Sorry, just a quick break here. Thank you, Hippie. Says, can hear perfectly, Frankie. Okay, thank you very much. Bart of the Tree giving the thumbs up. Thank you, Ross. Baha says, yeah, I think so. Just super tired and kind of scratchy. Yeah, scratchy throat or itchy scratchy. Not to be confused with the itchy and scratchy. That's a terrible joke. Anyways, let's get back to this. Quit messing around.
When you hear me singing my real lonesome song, these hard times can last us so very long. If I ever get off this killing floor, I'll never get down this low no more. Lord, 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 I'll never get down this low no more. And you say you had money, you better be sure. Don't these hard times will drive you from door to door. Sing this song and I ain't gonna sing no more. Hard time to drive you from door to door.
All right, I'll pull that back up in a second. So again, Skip James, Hard Time, Killing Floor Blues from 1930, 31. And I've talked about this before with the blues specifically. I think it's the earliest form of music where the performer, most especially if he's a vocalist, is the main subject or the main character in the subject of the story that he's singing about. Whereas in the past, often the singer would be singing about somebody else, usually a mythical or legendary figure or a true historical figure. But it was, I think the blues took the performer and he gave himself a persona, an alter ego, as a hero, or sometimes even perhaps as a villain, but more often than not as the hero in the story, which was the song that he was performing. Oftentimes the blues themselves was the villain, or a local sheriff, or a county, or a city, or the man, or a situation, or a time frame. They would often sing about, during the Great Depression, the conditions, but even prior to the Great Depression, early blues recordings of the teens and 1920s, with floods and, of course, the Spanish coup that went around and WW1. And that sort of ties in with the Red Cross that we'll get to here momentarily. So I'm going to play it again, and I'll kind of pause it once in a while and kind of, a fellow just throw his 2 cents in there, bud. And again, keeping in mind it's a 95-year-old recording, give or take. So it's kind of scratchy because it's old technology. It's transferred from a 78 RPM record, not from any kind of original recordings at all. And it's transferred onto tape, but also digital format simultaneously, and cleaned up as best as it can be, and then re-released on vinyl, CD, and so on. So I boosted the sound as much as I could from the original recording that I found. But yeah, it's a little scratchy. It's a little muted, muffled. Not muffled, it's clear, but the volume level is the best I could do.
Hard time on everywhere you go. Times it harder than ever been before.
So hard times is here. Everywhere you go, times is harder than they've been before. And these guys would walk into a recording studio and as long as you had 2 songs, you could put them on a record, one on each side of that 78 RPM Schlack Platter record. You could record on a Monday, and by the following Monday, that record could be pressed and shipped and ready to be sold to the public. Now, if you were recording for a major label, you might have to go to a major city like New York or Grafton, Wisconsin to do your recordings, or Chicago. And that process may take a little longer because it was a larger record company and recording studio. But also all throughout the South, there were smaller independent recording studios that you could go in and they would press their own pressings. And they would just do local promotions through the local radio stations.
And the people are drifting from door to door. Can't find no heaven, I don't care where they go.
So people are drifting from door to door, can't find no heaven, don't care where they go. And he's singing about the Great Depression here, so.
Let me tell you, people, just before I go, these hard times will kill you, just dry long flow.
Let me tell you, people, just before I go, these hard times will keep you dragging on slow. Oof, sounds rough. Sounds rough. Mr. Infinite in the box. Howdy.
When you hear me singing my lonesome song, these hard times can last us so very long.
When you hear me singing the so lonesome song, these hard times can last us so very long. Of course, that haunting sort of a moan, high-pitched or high-toned, high-pitched falsetto moan that he does. Very melancholy. I guess that's why they called it the blues, eh? Because it makes you feeling blue. Unless you're already feeling blue, then it can actually lift you up and make you feel better. Indeed, melancholia, yes.
If I ever get off this killing floor, I'll never get down this low no more.
If I ever get off this killing floor, I'll never get down this low no more. So the only job he could get is at the slaughterhouse. That's the reference to killing floor. It's referenced a lot in blues songs, even up into the 1950s and 60s. Howlin' Wolf singing about the killing floor. And that was the literal killing floor of the slaughterhouses. And apparently not the most pleasant of jobs for very little pay.
Lord, 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 I'll never get out this low no more.
Lord, Lord, I'll never get down on this floor no more.
And you say you had money, you better be sure. Don't these hard times will drive you from door to door.
If you thought you had money, you better be sure, because these hard times will drive you from door to door. Sing this song, ain't gonna sing no more. Sing this song, ain't gonna sing no more.
Hard times will drive you from door to door.
Hard times will drive you from door to door. So there you go. Hard time killing floor blues. Skip James. Finally. I've been talking about covering Skip James and that song for 2 episodes of this Clues in the Blues series here on the live show. Fine. What did you think of that? I'm glad I finally got around to getting it up. But what did you think? How'd you like that one? Skip James. Again, the volume was down a little scratchy. But you get the idea. He paints a picture. There's no beating around the bush. There's no two ways about. There's no two ways about it. Not sounding like the best conditions during the Great Depression, especially down in that area. Mississippi Delta-ish region. Yeah, that's right. Led Zeppelin channeling the Howlin' Wolf. The Wolf. That's right, the Howlin' Wolf. Ooh. Anyways, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes here of this thing with the Red Cross store. And I think we'll just jump right into the next video. And then we can check out the official story is with regards to the Red Cross store itself. So this is Mississippi Fred McDowell. Now this recording is from the early 60s. So it's, more like 70-ish odd, give or take, years. But with that said, it's his re-recording or his cover version of earlier versions of the Red Cross store. And again, it's a short but sweet one, a quick one, 3 minutes. So they ain't got much time to pussyfoot around. They got to get down to the nitty gritty, to the meat and potatoes. Toot sweet. They want to communicate an idea or a problem in the blues. You got 3 minutes to do it. And you do it in a clever way. But you also do it in a catchy way that's got a good hook that people dance to, so they'll buy your records. This has been the thing with recorded music on records since it was readily available in that 78 RPM format in the 20s, right? Actually, before that, in the teens. 19 teens-ish. Anyway, enough jaw-jacking. Mississippi Fred McDowell, Red Cross store. The sound quality should be a lot better on this one. But again, just let me know in the chat, in the box, if it's not coming in so good or what have you.
Well, I ain't going back to that red ground store no more. Well, I ain't going back to that red ground store no more. Well, Red Cross people sure do treat you mean. Well, Red Cross people be bad, Lord, sure do treat you mean.
Thank you, Sage. Dragon Sage 5x5. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. My pal Bill is here. William Pals, hello, buddy. Good to see you. Another thumbs up, water the tree. Thank you very much, Ross. Different style you'll notice in the vocals and in the guitar picking. Fred McDowell, kind of like more of a percussive style, and more often than not is playing, or I think pretty much exclusively plays bottleneck style, usually with literally a piece of the neck of a glass bottle. Although he's been known to play with a beef bone, a piece of copper pipe, steel pipe, the back of the blade of a knife, a pocket knife. Whatever you can make that bell ringing sound with that bottleneck on the guitar strings. Yeah, a little bit more upbeat as well. Yeah. I don't want to say more primitive style, just a different style. Not so much the intricate finger picking, more so a percussive way of playing the guitar with overlaying polyrhythms. So he might be playing 4/4 time and 4/5 time simultaneously, depending on what string he's picking. And he had been playing since the 1930s, but by the time we're getting the recordings of Fred McDowell, it's not until the 50s or 1960s. So he's already getting on in years by the time he's, quote, discovered. In other words, blues historians looking for the next great Robert Johnson of their time, going and doing field recordings, supposedly discover Fred McDowell, although he was very well known when he, playing in juke joints and traveling around playing in the South. But outside of a couple of states down there, nobody had heard of him. So he's already getting on in years-ish, and his style had not changed much. Kind of like an R.L. Burnside style, if you're familiar with him. Same sort of way of playing. Anyway.
Lord, down can't the crowd them all poking bean. Well, now can't the crowd, baby, Lord, them all poking bean. That thing meanest stove that I ever seen. That the meanest old Lord Mama Lord that I ever seen.
You're close, Sage. You're close. I do not play keyboards, no. My grandma attempted to teach me when I was a kid, but I couldn't sit still long enough to mess around with that. My granddaddy was fairly successful at having me play harmonica, teach me to play harmonica, or harp, as you're calling it. Yeah. In blues, it's called the blues harp, but it's harmonica. But I do play drums as well. I play the I'm a percussionist. I play the drums, eh?
I ain't gonna let my baby wait on that Red Cross door. I ain't gonna let my baby wake on that, Lord, that Red Cross door no more. Lord, I went to act the part, needed meal, go away, boy. You know God, boy, we brothers ain't your fool. Hey, I ain't going to that Red Cross store no more. Lord, I ain't going back down to that Red
I love the humor. I love it. Don't ever stop with the humor, please.
Cross store no more.
Awesome. All right, so again, we'll listen to that again one more time, and I hope that doesn't drive you nuts. Be pausing it and interpreting the lyrics. Some folks, it can be hard to understand, especially if you're from across the pond, you're over in the UK or in Europe or in Asia. You might not be used to the Southern drawl, first of all, but also I'm just going to say it, the ebonics and the black slang, the jive talk, and the parlance of the times of the 20s and 30s, and how not just folks in the South, but black folks in the South, but not just black folks in the South, in some cases, professional or at least semi-professional recording artists, and how they spoke.
That's racist!
Well, it is what it is. I got the ear for it, at least, because I've been listening to it for 40 years. So, I've never been further south than San Diego, California, in the States, over on that there West Coast. So, yeah, but I mean, I can at least understand it. So hopefully the interpreting helps. Thank you. See, in Kansas City, you're in Missouri, so you're starting to get at least to a sheltered, ignorant Canadian's ear. You're starting to get a little bit of a drawl once you get to Missouri. It ain't, like the, Bama or Arkansas or Mississippi or Georgia for that matter. But yeah, it's a little muddy for sure. And you have crazy terms that you only hear in the blues, right? And, somebody says it on a record or singing it in a juke joint and it catches on and somebody else picks it up. Some other singer or blues artist picks it up and then they start using it and it becomes the hip new phrase or word. It's the new fad, the new fashion. Everyone thinks today's day and age, we're hyper consumerist with all of the fashion and the fads and all that, which we are, but they weren't much different back in the day. People liked technology. They liked the newest thing, if not for anything else, just to put on airs, to front, right? To show off the latest lick on the guitar, or I got me the newest Skip James record, or the newest guitar from the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Anyway, let's get this again here. Again, Mississippi Fred McDowell. This recording, there's a few versions that Fred McDowell recorded himself, different labels, some live versions, some acoustic versions, some electric versions. So it's hard to pinpoint which version this is. I mean, I did a lot of digging and I have books and references that I can thumb through, and even that, I'm thinking this is the late 50s version, but either way, Fred McDowell, Red Cross Store, also known as Red Cross Store Blues.
Well, I ain't going back to that Red Cross store no more. Well, I ain't going back to that Red Cross store no more.
The other thing with the song, it's a very simple song. It almost is more of a, again, this is his version of an older song that goes back to what they call proto blues or pre-blues, field hollers, work songs, call and answer or call and response songs, which he's doing with his guitar, by the way. He's singing notes in his words. He's hitting notes, and then he's having his guitar repeat it or answer. He's calling out with his voice, and his guitar is saying what he says or answering back. And so all he's doing is, instead of the standard A-B form, where you say a line, you repeat that line, and then you say a third different line that rhymes with the repeating line. Here he's just saying a line and repeating it, and then he says another line and repeats it. So obviously he says, I ain't going back to that Red Cross store no more. I ain't going back to that Red Cross store no more.
Well, Red Cross people sure do treat you mean. Well, Red Cross people be bad, Lord, sure do treat you mean.
Well, the Red Cross people sure do treat you mean. And then again, he repeats it. The Red Cross people, baby Lord, sure do treat you mean.
Lord, down can't the crowd them all poking bean. Well, now can't the crowd, baby, Lord, them all poking bean.
Now, this one tripped me up for years until I got a really good set of ear goggles, head cans, headphones. And I realized, no, that ain't what he's saying. I used to think that he was saying, well, the camps are crowded and them old pork and beans. Meaning if you go to the Red Cross during an emergency, they pitch tents and set up, it's, emergency relief efforts, right? And they set up little camps for people, if there's a flood or a city fire or whatever. That's the whole story. That's the whole deal with the Red Cross. Or during times of boom conflicts and so on and so forth. WWs and, 1 and 2 and whatever. So I thought he was saying that the camps are crowded and the food was bad, them old pork and beans. And that eluded me for literally decades, but apparently what he's actually saying, and I was eventually able to look it up and confirm, he's saying, well, them candle crowd, they keep on poking me. Well, them candle crowd, they keep on poking me. I thought, oh, that's very interesting.
That the meanest dog that I ever seen. That the meanest dog, Lord, Mama, Lord, that I ever seen.
It's the meanest store that he's ever seen. Meanest store, Lordy Mama, that he's ever seen. I think the candle crowd, meaning they during emergency situations, that's one of the things they hand out. It's candles, emergency candles. They've always given you the candles. The candles, you need the candles. But I think they also sell candles as part of their fundraising drives, or used to back in the day. And, so he's going to the Red Cross store to get supplies, and they're busting his balls. They're poking him. That candle crowd, the people that work in the store, the people that are running things down at the Red Cross.
I ain't gonna let my baby wait on that Red Cross store. I ain't gonna let my baby wait on that, Lord, that Red Cross store no more.
It's so bad he's not going to let his baby work at that Red Cross store no more. I ain't going to let my baby work at that Red Cross store no more. Telling his wife or his lady, folks is mean down there. They treat us bad. You ain't going to work for them.
Lord, I went to acting for meeting meal. Go away, boy. You know God, boy, we brothers and your food.
Paul Thaddeus over on the Rumble. Good to see you, bud. Howdy, howdy. So we went down there to get some meaty meal. Meaty, M-E-A-T-Y, meaty meal. As in like cornmeal type of meal. Meaty meal is, if I'm not mistaken, is a blend of heavier grains, cereal grains. Very versatile that you can grind up to make, pancakes or hot cakes, flapjacks, bread. You can use it to feed your chickens if you're able to keep some chickens. It's versatile, but it's heavy cereal grains, if I'm not mistaken. You can also just boil it down and eat it like grits almost, or like porridge. Now, if you're from the South and you've heard the expression meaty meal before, let me know in the box or in the chat or in the comments if you're watching it after the fact, because I'm still a little foggy on that one. I've researched it as much as I could, again, online and in my personal library of reference books on the blues. I've got a couple of dozen books on the blues, not just biographies, but stuff like, actual listings of recordings, who recorded it, the dates they were recorded, what studios, who were the session musicians, who wrote the song, boppity bop bop. Went back to the 20s. So it's, from what I could gather, that's what it is the anyways, he goes down there to get some meaty meal, and they tell him, go away, boy. You got boll weevils in your field. A boll weevil is a type of beetle, for lack of a better, it's an insect. It's a beetle-like insect that decimated the cotton crops in the South in the 20s and 30s. There's a lot of blues songs about the boll weevil, Mississippi boll weevil blues, to name one. But basically, if you had boll weevils in your field, you're done for. Your crop was toast. So you couldn't get an advance. Nobody would help you out because you're technically considered a lost cause at this point. Come harvest, there ain't going to be nothing there. You ain't going to have no money. So he's even complaining that when you go in there, not only are they mean to you, but you ask for some basics, and they bust your balls, and they tell you, no, get out of here. You're a lost cause.
Hey, I ain't going to that Red Cross store no more. Lord, I ain't going back down to that Red Cross store no more.
Pretty self-explanatory. You ain't going back down to that Red Cross store no more. Yeah, kind of like cream of wheat. Yeah, like cream of wheat, grits, porridge, oatmeal, that kind of thing. Yeah, I would. Yeah, so there it is. Odin's Raven saying pork and beans is a step up from beans and wieners, at least. Yeah, I'll go along with that. All right, so there you go. Mississippi Fred McDowell, Red Cross Store Blues. So let's quickly look into this Mississippi Fred McDowell character and the Red Cross here, just real quick on the Wikipedia. Then we'll take a mid-show break. Come back, we'll have look at some photographs of some said Red Cross locations, not only in the U.S., but through the entire realm. So this is Mississippi Fred McDowell. That's who we just heard. He was born January 12th, 04, passed July 3rd, 72. Known by his stage name Mississippi Fred McDowell. He was an American singer-songwriter and guitarist in hill country blues. He was born in Rowville, Tennessee. So he's not even from Mississippi. He's from Tennessee. And that's how he pronounces it, is Rowville. It's Rossville, but I've heard him say it. He says it on a record that he's from Rowville. Anyway, his parents were farmers. Both passed while Fred was in his youth. He took up guitar at 14 and soon playing for tips, dances around Rowville. Seeking a change from plowing fields, he moved to Memphis in 1926, where he worked in the Buckeye feed mill, which processed cotton into oil and other products. In 1928, he moved to Mississippi to pick cotton, finally settled in Como, Mississippi. Around 1940, where he worked as a full-time farmer for many years while continuing to play music on weekends at dances and picnics. So kind of the same story as the earlier generation of bluesmen, the Robert Johnsons and the Son Houses and the Charlie Poutons and the like that came up in the 20s and 30s. He might do some recording, but he's also just going to hobo around or play at juke joints, picnics, dances, get-ups and get-backs, play on the corner for change. After decades of playing for small local gatherings, McDowell was recorded in 1959, there you go, by folklore musicologist Alan Lomax and Shirley Collins on their Southern Journey field recording trip. The interest in blues and folk music rising in the United States at the time, McDowell's field recordings for Lomax caught the attention of blues aficionados, record producers. So then he basically records a couple albums, and he's touring all over the world. But he continued to play in the North Mississippi blues style, as he had for decades, sometimes on electric rather than acoustic. He was particularly renowned for his mastery of slide guitar. Style he said he first learned using a pocket knife for a slide, and later a polished beef rib bone. He ultimately settled on the clearer sound he got from a glass bottleneck slide, which he wore on his ring finger, while he famously declared, "I do not play no rock and roll." He was not averse to associating with young rock musicians. He coached Bonnie Raitt on slide guitar technique and was reportedly flattered by the Rolling Stones rather straightforward version of his "You Gotta Move." Toured Europe a couple times with John Lee Hooker and my main man, Buddy Guy, Big Mama Thornton, who originally recorded Hound Dog, Roosevelt Sykes, Tickling the Ivories, the Honey Dripper himself. His 1969 album, I Do Not Play No Rock and Roll, recorded at Malanco Studios in Jackson, Mississippi, was released by Capitol Records, was his first featuring electric guitar. And he's got his Mississippi Blues Trail marker. And as mentioned, a number of albums. He's famous for a couple songs like Kokomo Blues, Shake 'Em On Down, and of course, Red Cross Store Blues. Mississippi Fred McDowell. Again, links below for everything that we're covering here. Let's quickly look into the American Red Cross. Then we'll take a break. What do you think? What do you say? Hey? Huh? All right. Again, the Wikipedia, just because, it's easy. That's what the normies do. So we might as well see what BS they're spoon-fed here. The American Red Cross, the American National Red Cross, sometimes referred to as the NARC, is a nonprofit, I find that hard to believe, humanitarian organization that provides emergency assistance, disaster relief, and disaster preparedness education in the United States. Clara Barton founded the organization in 1881 after initially learning of the Red Cross, founded in 1863 in Geneva, Switzerland. It is the designated American affiliate of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement. The organization has provided services after many notable disasters, including the sinking of the Titanic in 1912, WW1, the Spanish coup of 1918, WW2, and some very windy and fiery times in more recent memory. So Clara Barton established the American Red Cross in Dansville, New York on May 21st, 1881. Also the organization's first president. Sure, why not? You find it, you might as well be the president of it, right? Might as well. She organized a meeting on May 12th of that year at the house of Senator Omar D. Conger. It's quite the scowl, sir. Why so angry, huh? 15 people were present at the meeting. Conger and the Representative William Lawrence of Ohio, who became the first vice president of the Red Cross, I'm assuming, to discuss the start of the American Red Cross. The first local chapter was established in 1881 at the English Evangelical Lutheran Church of Dansville. Jane Delano founded the American Red Cross Nursing Service January 20th, 1910. Barton founded the American chapter after learning of the Red Cross in Geneva, Switzerland, and it's on their flag. And they make pretty decent pocket knives. In 1869, she went to Europe and became involved in the work of the International Red Cross during the Franco-Prussian kerfuffle. She was determined to bring the organization to America. She became president of the American branch, known as the American National Red Cross, May 1881, in Washington. First chapters opened in upstate New York, where she had connections. Mr. Rockefeller of the John D. variety and 4 others donated money to help create a national headquarters near the White House. The abolitionist Frederick Douglass, a friend of Barton's, offered advice and support as he sought to establish the American chapter, establish the American chapter of Red Cross. As Register of Deeds for the District of Columbia, Douglass also signed the American Red Cross's original Articles of Incorporation. Next major disaster, Johnstown flood, May 1889. 2,200 people washed away and perished. Thousands more were got owies and boo-boos. I'm not making fun, by the way. Just with the Q-tubes, you gotta, unfortunately, play word games. You know how it goes. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression ain't so freely given with the freedoms of the free lately, let's just say. Many within the organization became frustrated with Barton's leadership style, and Barton resigned in 1904. As of April 2023, the American Red Cross scores 4 out of 4 stars at Charity Navigator and A- at Charity Watch. Well, then that's all you need to know, I guess. Huh. I also put the link below for Clara Barton's Wikipedia page as well, if you're interested in just having a little bit more of a looky-loo into it, but I think we get the idea, if you see what I'm saying. One last one, right quick, fast, in a hurry here. This is from the Library of Congress blogs. Sharing the wrong screen. Excuse me. What's going on here? Come on, man. Amateur hour. Sorry. There it is. There it is. Excuse me. Library of Congress blogs. Library of Congress prints and photos. American National Red Cross Collection. Newly digitized photos. Well, not so new now. May 18th, 2017. But gives a little bit of kind of the same, but different, but same. With the official, his story here. We've got some photos, as one would expect. I like looking for the fancy buildings in the background. You know what I mean? With all this nonsense up here. No caption. Photo between 1917 and 1919. They don't even know. It's the Library of Congress, and that's somewhere in this 2-year window. Somewhere, sometime. Thanks. Music hath charms, etc. Photo by Louis Wikes, Hein. At least here they give the August 1918. All right. I just had my jaw blown off, but listening to this this here record, that'll make me feel better. Actually, music does kind of help, I guess. It's packing them in like sardines, so they got to have them in the corridor. Seen in the corridor military hospital. June 14th, 1918. Women's part in the great boom booms. Women are shown preparing to deliver various government packages. They're members of the National League for Women's Service, which is providing a great assistance to Uncle Sam in carrying on with the great conflict. Women employs drivers, ambulance drivers, messengers, etc. Captain A.B. Bale is shown cranking the car prior to making her rounds in New York. And of course, with the American Red Cross, they're nurses as well. This guy's got hook arm. He's making brushes. A blind soldier. He's blind and he's got an artificial limb. And he's making brushes. This guy does more in a day than some 25-year-olds on with the twatting on the twatter all day on the social media with the ticking of talks and stuff. Oh, during the Spanish coup here, you can't get on this train unless you're wearing a face diaper. How familiar is that? Hey, you with your package from the post office. No. This guy's just letting the bottom hang, just dangle on the bottom. He's half-assing it. Just trying to get away with something here. Keep your eye on that fella. Get the nice brick street, by the way. Again, the beautiful buildings in the background that I'm always distracted by, which is kind of the reason why I'm sharing this with you, is, stuff with these massive columns. Like, what's the Red Cross need to be involved with this palatial-looking structure for? Oh, it's the San Francisco earthquake here, so let's all pose. Oh no, was it here? Oh no, this is Japanese. What are they talking about here? Oh, okay, just talking about different photos that aren't featured here. Got it. It's a lot of... This guy's blind and a hand again. There's a lot of hand and eye things going on. Look at this beauty in the background. Look at all of this. Like you're lining up to get soup or bandages or to donate blood. I guess you got to do it in a super fancy building. Doesn't make much sense to me, but anyways, just thought I'd share that with you really quick. That is from Library of Congress blogs at blogs.loc.gov. Link below. Where are we at here? Oh, geez. 1.25 hours already. All right, I'm going to take a mid-show break. Come back, we'll have a look at some photos of some Red Cross buildings, hospitals or houses that were commandeered as temporary Red Cross facilities. So if you're new to the channel, first of all, howdy, welcome. Thanks for shooting in and joining in on all the shenanigans. But also as a reminder, every Wednesday I upload vintage footage video. I find old video footage. I try to use authentic, unaltered video, no AI, no colorized, none of that. And I usually put it together with some music. I put that up Wednesday on the channel, vintage footage, just to give you a little midweek. Friday, boots on the ground. Sunday, back here for the live show. And Sunday on the live is where you get the little sneak peek of the vintage footage. So this one coming up Wednesday. This one it's again winter themed because, you know, around here anyways, it's winter. This is 1930s snow plow. 3 minutes. 1930s snow removal technology and what they had to deal with. So stick around. See you on the other side of 3 minutes. Be right back. Cheers. All right, and we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Howdy. Frankie here, New West Reset. Thank you very much once again for shooting in, joining a fella here for another one. New West Reset Live, episode 153. We're looking at the old world in music. This is number 4 of Clues in the Blues. We're looking at the Red Cross store, courtesy of Mr. Mississippi Fred McDowell. The top half of the show, we heard a little bit from Mr. McDowell as well as from Skip James. We looked a little bit into the Red Cross store, how it got its start, its founding, and whatnot. Now we're going to have got a nice file here of photographs. Some of the photographs aren't the best, and I did my best to try to find out where it was taken and what year it was taken. In some cases, I had more levels of success than others, unfortunately. But be that as it may, thank you very much for joining me here. If you haven't already, please do all the things, to help a fella out, to push me out into the algo and so on. Please, thank you. If you've already shared, if you've already subscribed, thank you very much. If you're watching this after the live, appreciate you as well. Best way to support the channel is, just to leave a comment and, do all the things that all the other channels tell you to do 100 times. But also down below, not only what we've covered, but how you can get a hold of a fella, email, Rumble, BitChute. We've got links there for vintage footage playlist, my Reset 1700 mudflood documentary, my location map, courtesy of Cousin Vinny, and PayPal, should you so desire and feel inclined to make a channel donation. Certainly not necessary at all, but greatly appreciated. And if you do make a donation and you want to share your mailing address with me and what size you wear, I'll send you a t-shirt, or maybe a ball cap or something. I had some made. New West Reset t-shirts and hats and whatnot. Don't worry, I ain't going to dox you and tell anybody where you live. Heck, my address will be on there. It's called the honor system there, eh? So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate all of you. Again, links below for everything we covered on the top half of the show. Thank you for joining me here. Still got a lot to look into. So I've got my file here. I think we'll start with, excuse me. We'll start with just having a look at Clara Barton's house. It's the Barton home in Glen Echo. Photo taken around 1918-ish. Look at this place. Look at the stone. And then, these angles. Yeah, that's easy. Why not? I mean, even if this is a wood-framed home, which it kind of looks like, maybe. You still got to dig some kind of lower level or basement or something here. You have a stone foundation. So pretty fancy. No, they weren't kidding. There's no kidding at all when they were saying that she had connections. That's how she was able to just found this Red Cross thing. I saw them do it over in the Swiss land over there. And I think we should do it here. And lo and behold, she gets together with a couple of politicians and gets hooked up with Rockefeller, and Robert's your mother's brother, I guess. Look at this place. This is their original headquarters for the Red Cross Society. Wow. It looks, first of all, it looks pretty trashed in its own right. It looks like the headquarters for the disaster relief could use some disaster relief.
That doesn't make sense.
Just saying. Looks like the Alamo. Anyway, not the best photograph, but stone. 3 big arched entranceways. And you still got to go up a bunch of stairs to get in. 3. Almost looks like a destroyed church. An old church that was partially destroyed. I don't know. Very unusual. But then they upgraded, don't worry, they upgraded to this as the American Red Cross headquarters in Washington, D.C. Looking like every other Greco-Roman supposedly revival style building in the nation's capital there in America. With big columns and capitals and pillars and massive windows. And you've got to have a lower level here. Some burnt, seems. Well, a lot of these buildings have what I'm going to call a mud flooded level, and then the actual real lower level is below that. I shouldn't say I know, but what's that line that Jack Black uses? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. A couple shots of the interior, just in case you didn't think it was fancy enough on the outside. Look at all this here. And yeah, we'll just have marble columns. This curvature. Again, just, get money to throw around and just put marble paneling on the walls or whatever that is. Coffered ceiling. All this beadboard work all in here. Again, not super duper fancy, but just a lot of bother for a quote unquote non-profit emergency relief organization. There's a nice color photo just to get a better idea of what we're talking about here. What exactly are we talking about? Exquisite. A little pomp and circumstance just to take your blood and help you if there's a flood. This is the windows inside the American Red Cross National Headquarters. Made by Tiffany. Only the best of the best. Look at this. Is this really necessary? Oh, man. It's not the best photo. Apologies. Gets a little pickleated, but you get an idea. In memory of the heroic women of the American civil tickle fight. Again, not making fun, just have to watch my words. I mean, it's still there. It's still standing. They even were so kind to give us a construction photo. Apparently, the Army Corps of Engineers built it. Even though it looks pretty much finished, except for the new stairs they got to pour and maybe some of the roof. Everything else is just scaffolding and hoists. I mean, it's done. There's even window frames in the windows already. It always seems that these construction photos are either they're just starting, so it's basically a hole in the ground with some guys and shovels and some horses and buggies filled with dirt, or horses and carts, filled with dirt. Or it's basically finished and it's scaffolding and hoists. For when they say this was built, they had steam engines, they had cranes, steam shovels. Why aren't we seeing a steam crane? What are they hoisting up here? Why do they have a hoist dangling over top of scaffolding? Whatever they're hoisting up is going to clankety clang bang 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 up here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being overly critical. Howdy, Sig. Good to see you. Sig, I'm still waiting on an email from you with your address so I could send you a t-shirt or something, or a ball cap. Please email me with your address, Sig. Please. Unless you're shy. If you're shy and or whatever, or no pressure. But I'm really appreciative of your donations. So thank you. Sig makes donations on behalf of the chat, by the way. So thank you for that. Anyways, no, this isn't a Triple K march. No, it's the nurses of the Red Cross. Everybody gets a parade. Shriners, nurses, Oddfellows, Macy's. Hey, if you can get her done, you can have it, parade-wise. I'm not sure exactly where this is, but they've got one hell of a cool old world building here with a stupid Goodrich tire, BF Goodrich tires sign on it. I don't know if this is New York or I don't know. No idea. Apparently it's a big deal though. Oh, it's in the US, I'm guessing. Maybe? I don't know. Anyways, one of those photos I got the year, but not sure exactly where. So this is basically what a lot of folks, at least with me, this is what I picture when Red Cross relief, right? Or the rations, of course, the blood drives, setting up the tent camps for people that have been displaced from their homes for whatever reason, fire, flood, evacuation of some kind. A train derailed, carried some kind of weirdo chemical. It's not your fault, but you got to leave your house for 2 weeks. And you better hope nobody snoops around and screws around in there while you're gone. But don't worry, you can sleep in this tent that we set up in the city park or whatever, right? That's kind of what I pictured. This happens to be in 1930, the Ozarks. And this is a Red Cross relief store. Looks like it's actually just set up in somebody's home, which again was often the case. I don't know who got picked, what the choosing committee was, and who got to say whose house they could use, but you get these ne'er-do-wells. What kind of game are they playing here? What is this? It's not checkers. It's not dominoes. It's not chess. It looks like some kind of weird, I don't know what. Anyways, this is one of those, I mean, this could be labeled anything, really. Apparently it's the Ozarks, 1930. But this is kind of what I picture as a Red Cross emergency relief house or Red Cross facility of some kind, right? Because they're just supposed to just be going where the emergency is. Sure, you'll need a head office or some kind of administrative building, of course. But, I mean, you wouldn't need a bunch of big fancy places, would you? Well, you'd be wrong. This American Red Cross Rainbow Corner in London. One of those Flatiron style buildings. Terrible photo again, but we've got another one here. Big, massive archways here. This thing's, I think, brick and stone. Yeah, looks like brick and stone. Again, this is Rainbow Corner, London, American Red Cross. Look at this. You gotta have all this big fancy nonsense with, 10-foot high windows. Not to mention this pediment up here. This is just the Red Cross Center in Paris. It's fine. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. The Association of the Ladies French Red Cross. Dames Françaises. Croix Rouge Française Association des Dames Françaises, Secours aux Militaires, something, militaire en temps de guerre, Secours aux civils, so civilian aid, social assistance, and they're giving you different addresses. If you need civilian aid, go here. Social assistance, go here. This building is the Red Cross French Ladies Association, and it's the military first aid, basically. Kind of butchered that a little bit with the French, but what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do?
I can't understand a word you said the whole time.
Did you eat some peanut butter or something?
Yeah, you sound like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
I think what you are hearing is my accent. I am French.
Anyways, I guess you need all this for that. Man, oh man. But, can't expect anything less. It is Paris, after all, right? I don't think it really matters because here's Anaheim, California. Look at this. Now, again, some of these are going to be, Red Cross hospitals. Some of these are going to be temporary setups during certain conflicts. Some of these are going to be homes that are set up as blood banks, blood drives, supply depots. But what I want to know is, like, what happens? They just walk up and knock on your door. Hey, do you want to be a Red Cross house? It's very strange. But look at this place. What a beauty. First of all, look at these little balls or spheres here on this. I guess this is shade. This provides shade. So the sun is broken. The sunlight's broken up a little bit as it's coming in through your windows. I'm guessing that's its function. I don't know. But form meets function because it looks beautiful. I got one over here too in this window. But then, this turret, it curved here, this veranda. They've curved it to match the curve of the turret. Conical dome. And then what do you suppose this is up here? I don't know. It's not a weather vane. There's no rooster with the north, south, east, west. I don't know what that is. It's got some kind of official plaque here. So it's labeled, or the original photo, labeled Red Cross House in Anaheim, California, USA. So there you go. What a beauty. Kind of similar here with these turrets, but believe it or not, this is Ethiopia. Couldn't get the year on this. I guess in 1920s, I'm going to guess. Octagonal, maybe even more than 8-sided, 16-sided, maybe. I don't know. This looks octagonal maybe, but again, what's happening here? And here. And I'm going to hazard a guess there's one here too. Built way up high on some kind of funny looking stone and I don't know what, some kind of masonry foundation maybe here. I don't know. It's not what I would expect. First of all, in Ethiopia, and secondly, this is what the Red Cross needs, even if it's just temporary. That we're just hanging our flag here because it's time of conflict, and we're here to help out. I mean, what was in here before that? What do they do? Just kick them out? Get out of here. We're here now. We're the Red Cross. Damn it! Make way, sucker. I'm not sure where this is. It's in French, so I'm guessing I've labeled it France or Belgium. Because I don't know, but it's Red Cross. Again, they got to have some big fancy, even if it's temporary. It's got to be in some old world big. And this is pretty early on. Brick Street or some kind of cobblestone or something. Looking a little worse for wear here, though. WW1 maybe? Yeah, basically, yeah, like they're commandeering. So this is where it all comes from. This is the Red Cross in Geneva. Look at this behemoth. Really, that's what you need, huh? Set up in the 1860s as a nonprofit charity emergency relief, emergency aid organization. And this is the building that you need. All right. Sure. Mansard roof, dormers, coining down the edges or corners of the building here. Curved pediment on this dormer, plus some kind of whatnot. Don't tell me it's a flagpole, because there's the flagpole. We got some other weirdo stuff going on here. Not the best photo, but pretty impressive. This is the Red Cross in Glen Echo, Maryland. MD, is that Maryland? Looks an awful lot like what's her name's house. Clara Barton. It's got to be a coincidence. Red Cross in Harnham, UK. Again, not the best photo, but this is what you need. Really? This big multi-level tower and these massive arched windows with all this fancy whatnot. Grand entranceway. All right. This one at least a little bit more modest. It's in Japan, but I mean, again, got these sort of curved dormers, because that's easy to do. And then this little cupola, and it's got something sticking out of the top here. Again, modest, but impressive. Maybe a little bit more of what I would picture for a Red Cross hospital or some kind of facility. You know, doesn't need to be some big, massive, opulent thing like that one in Paris. So this is the Red Cross store, or their storehouse for relief in Japan. So there it is. There's your tents. There's your boxes and your supplies. Is this some kind of, yeah, these are those, what do they call them? Rickshaws? Of course, you're going to have Red Cross ambulance rickshaws. It's Japan, after all. But again, they got to be in this big, massive, it looks to me like brick or brick and stone. Arched window. Big. They got to commandeer or take over this big, massive, looks like maybe 2 buildings. Just to store bandages and emergency supplies, I guess. Seems a little excessive. This is a Red Cross main depot in Germany from 1896 to 1945. Looking like some kind of old world fortress or palace. Not to mention this one in the background with all these arches. But I mean, look at this thing. Like, yes, if this is your nationwide headquarters for something, okay, I get it. But like the government or something maybe, but not, again, not some nonprofit, supposedly, emergency relief agency. Not even agency, foundation, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. It's huge. Howdy, Shawnee. Shawnee B in the box. Good to see you. And obviously, again, you've got some kind of lower level because you've got the ground and it slopes down a bit, but you still have to go up, what is that, 5 steps to get in. So, and a structure this large obviously is going to have some kind of beefed up foundation. But apparently they're telling us that this was the main depot since 1896. So this is what they were building in Germany in the 1890s for the Red Cross. This is in Manila, 1924. I guess you work with what you've got. But again, it looks to me like they're just using they've commandeered some beautiful old worlder that survived enough where they were able to fix up and falsely claim. I don't know, but I mean, you've got these pillars with capitals. You've got all of this dental molding along here. Again, it's looking a little rough, but I mean, come on, Red Cross, you need this big fancy building? One time you could see it would have been beautiful. I mean, it still is in its own way. She just needs a little bit of a, scrub the face. A little bit of a scrub and rubby dub. It's the Red Cross in Norfolk, UK at Attleboro. Not Norfolk, Virginia. Again, you need all this? Sure, your chimney, I get it. You need a chimney. Why it's got to be fluted and fancy like that, I don't know. And why is there an arch here that's already bricked in? I don't know, right? I'm just asking questions.
Let me ask you something. How come you asking so many jackassy questions?
By the way, they lied. This text will be on your photo. That's because I didn't pay to download it. That's why. This Red Cross in New York City, the New York Public Library. So they just set up shop during WW1, I'm guessing. What a beaut this is. Holy. Again, you got to have, columns or pillars with capitals and, make sure it's got lots of arches because we got to store bandages and take blood in here. So we're not messing around. We are not messing around. This is the old hall in Cheshire, UK. In Mottram. What's going on down here? Hello. Just shooting right down into the ground there. If that's just a basement window, why is it done all fancy with a keystone here? Heck, even these windows don't get keystones. They just get a big header over the window. So what is the haps here, Jack? And then, of course, so you got to go 5 steps to get in now. Was that the original first floor? Possibly. Red Cross in Poland, because that's how they do it over there. Poles are not going to be outdone. Look at this nonsense. Beautiful. Outstanding. Salisbury, UK. Obviously, this is a church in the background. We're talking about this building here. I think maybe it's the entire complex. I don't know, but either way, you gotta have big, robust buildings with domes made out of brick and stone. I think they might be talking about this whole thing, and it might be during WW times. So it would have been, again, commandeered as a temporary Red Cross. In Sedalia, Missouri. I have no idea where that is. Ross, do you know where that is? Water the tree. Sedalia, Missouri. Red Cross. Look at this. That's how you want to do it. I guess if you're wheeling in people on gurneys, you just need a 15-foot arched doorway just to make sure you can get them through, even though they're lying flat on their back. Look at this place. Skopje, Macedonia. Are you kidding me? What in the Sam Steele is this place all about? I mean, obviously there's some brutalizing going on here, but we've got some kind of crazy stone foundation here. And did they chip away at it to add this nonsense or whatever? I don't know. Again, you got some pretty low windows here, below other windows. Do have some arches that go pretty deep, and it looks like there's stone or something in there. So maybe they just covered it in stucco, what I like to call schmutz. But look at all this up here. You think that's easy? You try it. You get a hold of a really good local contractor, builder, commercial, residential, I don't care. You show him this photo, and you say, build me one of these, bud. Guy's going to laugh in your face, slap you in the face, or he's going to quote you something ridiculous because you ain't even going to want to try it. I'll do it for $350,000. Really, for the whole thing? No, just for these. And then what's this up here? I mean, this is weird too, but this is really weird. Sure, you got air conditioning or something, but that's weird, man. Red Cross in Spokane, Washington. Photo taken 1918. Yeah, you want to have all this stacked brick so it looks all arch pattern. All of this beautiful brickwork. These 3 portals here. Come on, man. We'll just hang some crappy drapes and put some stupid striped awning. It's always striped too. And then yeah, we'll just call it a day. Looks like it's already been painted at this point, maybe. This brick, possibly. Pretty fancy for Red Cross. Here's another Red Cross house. This is in Timperley, UK. Yeah, because you need all this. Oh, there's some uniformed guys with arms and slings, so that's legit. Oh, there's an old-timey wheelchair. This guy seems all right. He's got his bike. Again, they lied. This text will totally be on this photo. Like, it's right there. I can see it. Red Cross USA. Not exactly sure where. I just thought this building was interesting because this street just slopes like crazy. It looks like there's some kind of void under here. But then you get to a different building made of a different material. And then there's, you just see peeking here. It looks like a, well, it looks like an arched window that, again, is just shooting down into the ground there. I don't know, call me crazy. And again, you got to have these big, you know, if you're going to commandeer a building for the Spanish coup or whatever, or the civil tickle fight or WW1, you want to get the biggest and the best with the, you know, the arches, and make sure it's made out of brick and stone. We'll make the displaced people sleep in tents, but we're going to stay in these amazing old buildings. Like this, the American Red Cross Washington Club. This is probably one of those cast iron entryways. Look at all this nonsense. Yeah, we're just going to commandeer the best. It's going to have wrought iron with glass canopy here. Transom windows back here. Oh, and more pillars and capitals. Sure, why not? You know, for the Navy. No offense to the Navy. Thank you for your service. There it is. The Red Cross hospitals, houses, administrative buildings. Unbelievable. So what'd you think? Definitely, I don't know. Just odd to me, the Red Cross. I mean, we know they ain't, at least at one time, they weren't the best. They weren't the friendliest, nicest people, at least not according to Mississippi Fred McDowell. You know, in the 1930s, if the hard times were driving you from door to door like Skip James sang about, and you need to rely on the Red Cross, you go in there to get some relief. And they're busting your balls, giving you a hard time. Or we ain't even going to give you no relief because you're a lost cause. You got boll weevils in your field, or your town's been flooded out. Well, it's like, yeah, no kidding. Why do you think I'm here, Professor? I'm not here because I got a lot of time on my hands. I'm here because I need some help. Oh, no, we're not going to help you. I'm just going to poke you and treat you mean. So I think I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here very shortly. But before I do, again, as a reminder, every Friday, Boots on the Ground. Got some good ones coming up here for you in the next couple of weeks. I managed to get out even when it is cold. But now that we have a warming trend over the next couple of days with this Chinook, these warm winds from the west, bringing the temperatures above 0 Celsius and melting some-ish of the snow. I can get oot in a boot there, eh, buddy? Wednesday vintage footage. You got your sneak peek here tonight. Some 1930s snow plow, snow removal tech. Did not look fun. I mean, the video is a cool old video, but it did not look fun. Of course, we'll see you back here next Sunday for next week's live show. Before I go, see what I've got here. I'm going to share a couple things just real quick before I go. I'd like to leave it on a laugh, on a high note. Oh yeah, this is. I mean, we've seen a lot of snow earlier at the top half of the show, just after the intro. A couple of folks in the chat. Kathy down in Kentucky, Kathy Broaden, for example, talking about that it's cold. And a lot of people, yeah, this time of year, if you live in an area where it gets cold, it's not the best, right? January, February is probably the coldest, at least around here, southern Alberta, like the 2 coldest months. Which is weird because the days are getting longer. But anyway, a lot of people like to go on vacation. All right. They're like, the hell with this. I'm at least going to take 2 weeks in January or February. I'm going to go to, I don't know, Hawaii or Mexico or the Caribbean. Go to the Caribbean, man. Whatever. I don't know. The French Riviera. I don't know where you go. Maybe you just go to the coast where there's a beach. Chill out for a little bit. But you just got to remember when you travel, just be careful, right? And if you've been accustomed to the winter weather and then you go to where it's warm, you don't want to get a sunburn. You don't want to get a sunburn. Oh. Oh, that's ridiculous. Come on. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Is that it? Do I have anything else to share with you? Oh yeah, there was one other thing. I've got to pull it up though because it's on a different thing because I wasn't able to put the thing from the thing onto a thing. So I got to pull it up on a different thing. This is just technical jargon. I know you needn't not concern yourself. This technical jargon.
Apply 1 gram per vagina at bedtime, then 0.5 gram twice weekly per vagina. Do some of you have more than one? Shoes new, never worn, except for when I took this picture and when Peter Pan went to go fight Captain Hook. Hey, yeah, I'm just calling about the post you made on Marketplace. I know you sold the ring. I just had a question about the What kind of thumb is that? What kind of thumb is that? Any turd over 6 inches in length or longer must be hand lowered into the toilet. Oh, hold on. I think this one's only going to be 5. I think we're good. Let it go. I'm just going to let it go. I don't know why we have so many of these left over after the holidays. Santa's sack dip, anybody? I can't find it. And you think they'd put a sign up. Oh, guys, I found it. The big fuckhole's over here. You want to vote for somebody that's going to take care of you? Somebody that's going to put your needs ahead of their own? Vote for my one.
There it is. There it is. What kind of thumb is that? What kind of thumb is that? Great. Thanks a lot, Kathy. That's stuck in my head for days now. Fantastic. Howdy, Morgan. Good to see you. Isabella live. Howdy, howdy. All right. Enough screwing around. That is it. I'll wind this thing down here. So that is going to seal the deal here today for Frankie, New West Reset and New West Reset Live, episode 153, The Old World in Music. Clues in the Blues, episode number 4, The Red Cross Store. Again, links below for everything we covered, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella. So until the next one, take care out there and have yourselves a good one. All right? Thanks again, everyone. Thank you very much. Cheers.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.